Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our fourth Youth Professional Career Development, Innovation, and Entrepreneur Experience Sharing Forum. And today's event is co-organized by 12 organizations, including CCEA, CPAC, CCAA, CCFA, etc. So we will leave a great time for our acknowledged period. So let's just cut into more important to our theme today. And let me just introduce myself. I'm Maggie Han, and I am so honored to be the MC for this exciting event. And I hope that today we could explore the dynamic worlds of professional career development, something of innovations and entrepreneurs for the young generations. And today we have gathered some of the brightest minds and very successful professionals to share their experience, their insights, their expertise with our young and aspiring talents. And I hope that today's forum is just like our previous. So previously, we did have a very successful 3 monthly forum. And for the past few years, especially during the COVID, that we have held multiple professional related development related forum or seminars, and especially we had two very large scale online and in-person job fairs. And that is what we are doing. We're here for learning, for inspiration, and I am so glad and so thrilled to have all of you here. And through the night, I think that we will have the opportunity not only to hear from the successful young speakers, and you can also have a chance to participate in the Q&A and the panel, and you do also have the chance to network with the like-minded individuals that were passionate about shaping their careers and making an impact in their chosen fields. So today we have 5 excellent speakers. They are Victor Li, Harry Gong, Emily Kwong, Tao Shen, and Edu Song, and they come from diverse backgrounds. So they will provide valuable insight into their own career journeys and their challenges maybe they have overcome and the innovative approaches that they have used to succeed. So, but I do hope that this event is not only about listening, but it is also have actively engaging and learn from each other. So we do encourage, if you have a question, feel free to ask it, either type it into the chat box or during our panel discussion or in our Q&A sessions. Feel free just to be brave to open your mouths, be open, be curious, and to ask your questions to the all our 5 great speakers. And at this moment, I would like to extend my greatest gratitude to our organizers, our partners, and all the individuals that who have worked tirelessly behind the scene to make today's event possible. And without further ado, I would like to dive into the great event filled with the inspiration, learning, and exploration of the new career possibilities for all of us. And we hope that by the end of this forum, by the end of tonight, that you could leave with a renewed sense of purpose, maybe some fresh insights, or the motivations to take your professional careers, your innovation paths, your entrepreneur aspirations to the new heights. Okay, so that is basically what we want to do. And let's just begin this exciting journey all together. And let me first introduce our first excellent speakers, who is Victor Li. And Victor, he is a founder, and he is a founder of the and also a startup investor. He is a semi-pro poker player as well. And currently, he is the CEO and co-founder at Onova. And I think later he will explain what it is. And he is also the GP at the Winning Together Fund. He is a Queen's Applied Mathematical alumni. So I don't know whether you have alumni here and whether anyone would like to become your alumni. So now, without further ado, let's just welcome Victor to share his story and journey. Welcome, Victor.
Thanks so much, Maggie. I'm just going to start sharing my screen, so let me know when that comes up. But awesome. Well, appreciate Maggie and the whole team for having me here today. I think I've got maybe like 5 to 10 minutes worth of slides, and then just want to open up to questions either from you, Maggie, or just anyone who has questions. But thanks for that wonderful intro. So, as Maggie mentioned, I am a serial entrepreneur, a startup investor, and I play a lot of poker as well. For if there's any other poker fans, poker enthusiasts out in the crowd. What I figured I'd just share is a bit more of my sort of journey from startup to corporate to back to startup and what that sort of looked like. So I dug up this old video actually of a pitch competition I did back at Queens. It's very blurry because I guess the resolution wasn't great back then, but this is from 2015. I was just graduating Queens. I was launching my first startup. I participated in the Queens incubator program at the time, and we were pitching for some funding. I think we ended up getting a bit of funding through this competition. And I worked on this company. It was a tech startup at the time for about a year. Before it eventually just failed. We decided to shut it down. I ended up leaving for a number of reasons that I won't go into great detail today. But that was when I decided to just go the complete opposite direction with my career. I started to question whether I was really cut out for entrepreneurship. So instead of working at this 3-person startup, I then went to join a 300,000 person consulting company. So I went to go join this company called Capgemini. I first started in the Toronto office, and I was doing typical consulting work. We started doing these things called hackathons on the side. And if you're not familiar with hackathons, they're basically big events where you bring lots of people together to build solutions to complex problems within a short period of time, often as little as 24 hours. So I started running hackathons on the side for fun. So this was kind of a photo from us running one of the hackathons in San Francisco. One of my coworkers at the time, we picked up a lot of traction with running hackathons. So next thing we know, we were running dozens of these hackathons. We eventually raised funding internally, similar to how a startup will raise funding from venture capitalists externally. We raised it all within the company and turned it into our full-time roles. Eventually, we won a couple industry awards for this and had a lot of success just taking these hackathons to major clients and helping them innovate. After doing that for about a few years, I was living in San Francisco at the time. We decided to spin it off as our own company for a number of reasons, but largely one was financial upside, so we can make more money instead of just being salaried employees. Two was the freedom to build out our own vision for what we want to, how we wanted to build the company, but then also just freedom for ourselves and our own lifestyle. So now fast forward, that was about 4.5 years ago. So fast forward 4.5 years later, but basically what that coworker of mine, we've since left and became co-founders of this company called Onava, and now it's become a whole ecosystem of businesses. So right now there's 4 sort of like businesses or ventures within it. One is the main consulting arm, which is us still running things like hackathons for large Fortune 500 companies. So our clients are companies like McDonald's, HSBC, Bank of Montreal. We run innovation programs for these companies. 2 is to keep our own entrepreneurial muscles fresh. We're building new startups in-house. So 2 we're building, or 3 actually we're building right now. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then lastly, we started a venture fund. We're also investing in early stage tech startups. So just a little bit more about each of those parts. So I mentioned on the consulting side, we basically run these things called innovation sprints. So just think large scale hackathons for corporate clients. We also set up corporate incubators or product incubators. So we help, once you have a hackathon, you have hundreds of ideas for a new, typically tech product or service. We'll help them take those and launch them into the market through these incubator programs. And then we'll do like product prototyping. So we'll do design work, we'll do software development to help them build new products. And then just a couple of the businesses that we have in our venture studio. One of those is an e-commerce company. So this one, my co-founder, she started experimenting with products just at home during the pandemic, posted a couple things on TikTok and Instagram. It went super viral, and then basically this business exploded, and now she's left really our consulting business to focus entirely on this e-commerce business as the CEO of this company. But basically it sells like these bath kits to recreate sort of the bathhouse spa experience at home, largely inspired by our experiences going to bathhouse spas in places like Japan and Korea. One of the other companies that we're building right now is this company called Earth. It's basically a hackathon management software. It goes really well with our consulting services because we basically sell this alongside our consulting services to the exact same clients. And we built it to kind of solve our own need of saving us time and streamlining a lot of the process of running the programs that we do. This is one of the newer ones and comes with my personal passion for poker. But for me, well, right now we're building basically the world's first AI poker coach. We just finished our beta test actually this week, and we're going to be launching publicly in the next couple of weeks. But this is, again, solving a pain point of mine, which was how do I continue to get better and learn to become a better poker player, but then also taking advantage of the generative AI wave. And I'm sure many of you have played around with whether it's ChatGPT or many of these other different AI tools, and just how much easier it is to build something like an AI coach now. So we saw this opportunity and basically built and launched our own AI poker coach. Lastly, we have the Winning Together Fund. So we've invested in 10 companies now. So I've invested in 10 companies out of this fund, but I've also invested in 10 companies outside of this fund, just written personal angel checks. So mostly in, well, enterprise tech, but consumer tech as well. We've had 2 of the 10 companies acquired. And then the other 8 are still actually, one has since shut down, but the other 7 are still sort of running. But it's a tough sort of economic environment for startups right now. So many of them are sort of pivoting and trying to figure out how they survive through this downturn. But anyways, that's a bit more about our whole ecosystem. So really one of the last things I'll just kind of like, if I were to share like 3 quick takeaways for young entrepreneurs, and speaking from with my experience, speaking to many people who want to become entrepreneurs, whether it's students or other young professionals, the number one thing is just start building now. So I failed probably 3 startups before launching Onova, and made so many mistakes throughout those first 3 companies that by the time I got to my 4th one with Onova, things started to click. And intuitively, I knew which decisions to make when it came to like, okay, how should we do our pricing? How should we go to market? How should we conduct ourselves with whichever clients? And I hear so much from young entrepreneurs that they're saying, oh, I just need to go work 5 years in consulting and then I'll know what I need to know to start a business, or I just need to go get an MBA, or I need to go do these things. And then in, X amount of years, I'll be ready to start a business. Nothing really teaches you to be an entrepreneur like actually being an entrepreneur and doing the thing. And this is actually why personally, I'm really not a fan of entrepreneurship courses or classes at most universities, because often they're taught by people who haven't built companies, or they're taught by people who maybe built a company and sold that company maybe 10, 20 years ago, and now they're just in academia. And they're not being taught by people who are actually doing the thing. But a big part of entrepreneurship is you kind of have to feel the pain of failure and go through that enough times, get enough reps with that to really be able to learn and grow and iterate through that, which is why it's so important to just start as early as possible. Whether it's just building a side hustle as you're working for a full-time job so that you still have income, or if you're a student right now, that's the perfect time to start something, because you really have nothing to lose. You're just there's so many resources in university to be able to very cheaply start something, and it doesn't take a lot to start a business, especially an internet online business these days. Second thing I'd say is don't play the typical games. So I don't mean like video games here. I mean sort of like status and societal games. So a lot, especially if you're like in business school and university, like typically they're saying there's only like 3 or 4 career paths that you should pursue. Like you're either going to accounting, investment banking, consulting, or going to work for like some big other corporation. And then once you join those companies, it's about, okay, how do I get promoted as fast as possible and climb up the corporate ladder? And this is what 95% of people are going to be doing, is playing these typical games. And a big part of entrepreneurship is how do you sort of challenge that status quo? How do you drown out all that noise and then find your own path for building a life that is fulfilling, enjoyable, whatever it is? Because a big part of entrepreneurship is the freedom that it brings to you. And hopefully you're doing it not for like the money purposes, because if you want to do it just to make a lot of money, then you shouldn't become an entrepreneur. You should do it because you genuinely enjoy solving a problem, building a company, building companies, but then also hopefully to bring some level of freedom and a lifestyle change as well to yourself. So a big part is just don't play and buy into those typical games. And these games exist everywhere in society. Even in the startup world, the main game is how do you raise a bunch of venture funding and eventually build like $1 billion tech startup and become the next Mark Zuckerberg, which is, I was playing that game when I built my first tech startup, and that one failed after about a year. And then now every company I've built successfully since then has been completely self-funded or bootstrapped. We haven't raised any venture funding, nor do we ever plan to, because I don't want to be beholden to investors and be held to a standard of like 2x or 3x growth year over year over year. So that's the second takeaway. Last takeaway is a big part of being an entrepreneur is you're just constantly looking and digging for opportunities. You're paying attention to inflections. So what I mean by inflections is there's things like technology inflections. So what are major shifts that are happening? Like, for example, the AI wave. And what are all the opportunities that represent and all the businesses that now can be built on top of that? Or right now, because I'm in the poker industry, there's a huge second boom that we haven't seen in 15, 20 years in the poker industry. So when you combine those two inflections, the AI inflection and the poker industry boom, that you cross those two together, which is why right now was, for me, the perfect time to launch our AI poker coach, for example. And every business I've since launched has been built off of at least one, if not multiple inflections. And you just do this by sort of like paying attention, because there's so many of these opportunities that pass by on a day-to-day basis that most people just don't notice and they don't recognize. So that's really it. That's all I have to say. Last thing, I just want to put a quick plug in because we're hiring right now. So this is our team. We're about like 13 or so people now, but we're hiring for a number of roles. So if any of you are looking for your next role, basically we're hiring a product manager full-time. We're hiring full stack developer. We're hiring for a marketing role. We're also hiring consulting, and then we're hiring a couple interns as well. But just check out our website if you're interested. Yeah, that's it. But we'll open for questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Victor. And so if
Thanks,
anyone interested, be hired and you can meet the boss now. And if you have any questions, I think it is really a fast pass that you could probably get a little bit advantage than the other candidates. So don't waste the opportunities. Seize the opportunities tonight. Okay, so thank you so much for your sharing. And so are you going to leave now, or are you going to wait to the later Q&A session or panel?
I can stay, but if there's some questions right now, or if we're moving on to the next speaker, then I'll probably drop off, Maggie. So let me know.
Okay,
but I can stay on a bit
I
if there
didn't
are
see
questions.
any kind of the questions from the chat box yet. So
Okay.
if you can stay, then we will probably just talk a little bit later.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Okay.
Maggie.
So now let's move on to our second speaker, Harry. Harry, who was my interviewee in my show, in my radio show, and I know that he was a really, really good young entrepreneur, young professional mentor, and he is a technology consultant at EY. His specialty is data management strategy, and he is also a master data management with multiple industry experiences. Ranging from the financial banking, natural resources, insurance, and healthcare. So I don't know which kind of the case that you're going to present us, and in what kind of the interesting and inspiring way that you're going to start your lectures or your sharing. So I will just pass the microphone to Harry.
Sure, no problem, Maggie. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining me in this exciting Saturday night. I will share my screen to walk you through my presentation here. Okay. Can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so welcome again, everyone. My name is Harry. I work for EY Ernst & Young as a technology consultant. I don't know why our team is designing this adorable slides here, this adorable dog here, but I just feel it's very suitable for the Saturday night. And yeah. So my presentation will cover several parts. First part, I will talk a little bit about myself. I will talk with my own professional and academic journey. hopefully that can offer you some reference of your own career development. And then I'm gonna show you like a typical day of a consultant. What is my daily routine like? I know a lot of audience here, you are either like postgraduate students, or you're some people who is interested in working in consulting industry, working for big four consulting firm. So I will tell you about my own working experience. Okay. After that, the last part, I'm going to share you some insights about job hunting. So as you all know, this year has been a really tough year for the new graduates in the job market. So I will share with you some my own experience and insights about how to looking for a job, how to get your desired position in this depression period. Okay. So starting with a little bit about myself, my name is Harry. I work for EY's technology consultant. From my own experience overview, I dominantly focus on MDM, solution implementation, data strategy, and governance. If you don't know what MDM, data strategy, data governance is, so I can give you some background. Basically, it's about creating a unique source of truth for the data science. And from a skill perspective, instead of traditional like coding or programming technical skills, it's required more related to soft skills like communication, presentation, and also circulating the changes and the responsibilities of different personas across clients' organization. So it's really related to the soft skills. Okay. From an education perspective, I did my master degree here at Carleton Sproul School of Business in Ottawa. This is actually my third year in Canada, so still quite fresh, still new to the environment. I've been quite aggressive in my career and professional development. I did a bunch of certifications, all the things here, okay, like from Collibra, Big ID, DCAM. If you guys, I know when I was a student, I always have the problem or the question, what should be the proper certification I want to pursue, right? So maybe these are different options that I can provide you as like a reference to choose your own certification. Okay. And from my project experience, before I talk about, I can give you some insights about what are the two different roles in a Big Four consulting team. So technically, in the technology consultant department, we have two types of roles. The first part is a typical coding, or we say technical experts. So basically, they're working in the backend. They are developing pipeline, and they dominantly focus on the technical solution design and implementation. And the second one is like me. So essentially, I did have technical skills, but now I'm not a truly expert in programming and coding. But still, I'm pretty good at the presentation, communicating with clients. I have good people skills. This will help you to, be successful in your career as well. So there's two types of roles. Not necessarily you must be a coding expert. You can still get an opportunity, a position in the consulting company. Okay. A lot of certifications listed here. Some fun facts about myself. Harry is a man who is enthusiastic about jazz funk dancing. So I know this is not a typical boy sports. I do recognize myself as a male, okay? But still I enjoy dancing, I enjoy jazz funk. Okay. So the next slide is a typical working day of myself. You can say this is a typical working day as a consultant. Not necessarily same for everyone, but can provide you a reference, okay? So I myself is an early riser. I usually wake up at 6 a.m. And from 6 to 6:30, I'm gonna prepare my breakfast and write my to-do list for the day. After the next half hour, I'm gonna arrive at office. And 7 to 9 a.m. is actually the most important time for me in the daily basis, because this is the time I'm gonna work on the tasks that's with the highest priority and requires me the highest brain consumption, put in a lot of effort there. So 7 to 9 is actually my dominant focus of the day, okay? 9 to 12 is basically call after calls, meetings after meetings. I don't really have any chance to work on my own. And from after lunch from 1 to 2 p.m., I'm gonna summarize the calls in the morning. And for a junior consultant just coming out of school like me, a very important skill of you is to circulate the communication across the team. So essentially, there will be different working streams. you need to have the capability to have your senior manager to circulate the discussion across each team and ensure different stakeholders get notified of the changes. Okay, this is very important. And from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. is some kind of my personal time. I'm gonna do some business development for myself. So essentially, I'm gonna meet with the team leadership. I'm gonna schedule some coffee check one week before. Have the chance to socialize and talk to different leadership, or sometimes even the managers or senior manager from the other organizations, like 5 major banks or leading technical organizations. It's very beneficial for me to utilize the identity as a UI consultant, so that I can, really talk with people from different areas. Okay. From 3 to 4, I'm gonna wrap up my daily stuffs, and 4:30 I'm gonna log off and just go to dancing or workout. Okay, this is the typical working day for myself. One mindset I want to share with you guys is it is very important, not necessarily for you to be successful in the career, but for you to survive in the career, is to have your own schedule. Because you want to ensure, because the career development is actually a long-term development. So it's not a one-day stuff. It requires you to be focused and have a really good attention from a long-term perspective. So it's quite important for you to develop your own and sustainable job daily routine. This is very important. Okay. And then is the most important part of this presentation is talking about my own job hunting experience. And before I move into my own approach, I want to give you an overview, a high-level overview about what is the difference between the traditional job hunting approach and the approach under the COVID influence. Okay. So what happened before, based on what I learned from my seniors, is like basically we design the people who's in the job market before COVID is like, okay, I design the resume. I submit the application to different positions I'm interested in. I do some interview. I receive the interview request. I go into the interview, and then I'm going to get the offer from one of them. So one is the approach under depression, under these years. You will see there are like a lot of, I should say, improvement in the approach itself, because the competition itself has become more fierce. So you see people are designing, the candidates are designing tailor-made resume and cover letter based on the job description. And also networking becomes even more important when the number of available positions is so limited. So you see their online application, online networking and offline networking at once. People are trying to expand their social skills as much as possible to get the interview opportunity. And also the interview rounds increased significantly this time. So when I was undergraduate, when I interviewed for my as the internship or the jobs when I was in the undergraduate before COVID, usually there's only like 2 or 3 round interviews. Right now it increased to 3 to 6 round interviews. It also has a longer waiting time. And also you have more senior competitors for junior position. Some people with years of experience as a manager could compete for a really junior like staff position with new graduates. After all these stuffs, you can finally get the offer if you really stand up from the whole process. So taking this into consideration, what should we do? Like how we can really stand out, how we can really like win in this fierce competition, especially for those people like me, with limited working experience before, and also quite new to Canada, does not really be familiar with the society itself. So what should we do? So this is the job hunting approach summarized by myself. Not necessarily say this is the only one way to success or one way to the source of truth, but feel free to refer that and redefine your own job hunting strategy. Okay. So when I was looking for my own job, I start to separate my job hunting stages into 4 different stages. So starting from the first one is the preparation. So when we say preparation, it's basically the time you have feeling okay, I need to look for a job. And at that time, you're gonna do your own job research. You're gonna find a timeline of employment for different companies. And you also need to have a networking resource collection. Essentially, you need to know who I have already known in my WeChat, Facebook, or Instagram list may help me with a job application of particular industry. And then a very important part for me is to set up the priority. So essentially, I myself have three level of priorities. The first priority is like Big Four consulting, leading technology institution, or federal major banks. Second priority is anything related to business analyst because my major in my MBA is business analyst. So basically, any position related to that, I'm gonna take a shot there. The third priority is basically everything. So basically, everything can help you make a living. I'm gonna do that. Okay. So this part, a very important thing is to figure out who I am dealing with. And the second stage is related to the resume application. One part I want to highlight is about you need to set up an API. I realize that it's very easy for people to feel anxiety, the sense of anxiety during the resume stage. But a way, and I understand like waiting for the feedback, waiting for the response from HR is a clearly like painful point. One way to release the pain is to set the API and achieve the API itself because it really like get your attention on the application itself instead of worrying about the response. Okay. So essentially for me, the first priority positions, I'm gonna submit at least 3 positions per week. Okay. And the second priority is a 3 positions application on a daily basis. When it comes to the third priority, basically it's more than 20 per week. I'm gonna just, as long as I have time, open LinkedIn, I have a list there. So this list, I'm gonna just submit my resume. I don't care about the details because this is a third priority, but anyway, I'm gonna submit as many as possible. Okay. The last part is interview. Okay. So interview, I want to share my insights from a different perspective. So when we talking about interview, what we used to do is like we prepare several questions, we have question lists, and we do the case study exercise, right? But this time I want you guys to think about the different interests, or we say the different benefit of different stage of interview. Okay. So the first part is HR interview. The human resource department does not necessarily have a knowledge of what type of skills, specific skills the team is looking for. What they have is just a job description. Okay. HR does not know Python. HR does not know KT, UAT, this kind of stuff. HR just have a job prescription from the team. But for HR, one thing is very important is if you get hired, how long you can stay in the team. If you can onboard successfully, and will you be leaving in a short term? So this is very important to HR. Okay. And for the manager and the team interview, which is usually the second or third round interview, this part is the most difficult part. This part is talking about the specific skills. And if you're a good person to work with, you're gonna handle with different type of interview questions, like pressure test, some experience questions, like tell me about the experience facing challenges, specific experience working with a tough person, right? And you're gonna have case studies. This is the typical interview we're talking about, which is actually the second and third interview. The last part is VP, partner, and leadership. For junior positions, we don't usually have a chance to work with a VP and partner at the initial stage, even when you become a manager. So VP and partner does not necessarily care about your skill set, but it's more about your mindset. If you're a person, a long-term winner, and if you can bring the team the perspective in the future. So this is the 3 round of interview. After the interview, you receive the offer. Actually, everything is not done yet. You still need to pass the background check. Okay. My recommendation here is, until you pass it, just keep applying. Okay, because no one knows what's gonna happen. So I also summarized three key takeaways, like Victor just did. So the first one is start the job application right now. One thing very important based on my experience is the interview skills actually comes from practice. The more you interview, actually you can just do the better. So instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna start my job application after I have a perfect resume, I'm gonna start my job application when I pass these certification exams, just start it right now and apply to different positions, just receive the interview and take the shot there. It doesn't matter you're a success or failure at the beginning. Always remember it is a process. Okay. The second one is you need to be open to different options and opportunities. When it comes to networking, don't limit yourself to, let's say, your people you used to know, or don't only limit yourself to the LinkedIn platform. Try to approach people from different field and from different industries may bring you the chance to get the offer accidentally. So this is also very important. And the third one, I think for me, the most important lesson I learned is to be positive under pressure. Remember, after you get the job, actually the pressure level you are encountering in your position is no less than looking for a job itself. I know that you may be curious, okay, right now I get my own payment, I got my own source of income, but I still feel pressure. But if you get a job there, you will just know like every day you are actually facing challenge. The team is hiring you for your problem-solving ability. So be positive under pressure is not only an ability that is very important for your job hunting, but it's important for your career development in the future as well. Okay, I do appreciate your attention, and right now I'm open to any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry, and thank you for providing or sharing us such very, very practical the tips, and also including your own experiences of the job hunting. I know the job hunting, once you have graduated or even before you graduated, it's already a battlefield for all of us, especially very recently, it is really harsh environment. So it is not easy, and some people even describe it as a nightmare or horror. So hopefully that Henry's sharing can inspire you or give you some hints or practical tips that you can, you can start doing it today. And the sooner you get into the battlefield, maybe the higher chance that you can win this fight or this battle. And of course, it is just one stop of that. So we started to get a job, and later on, we have to know how to survive. And later, we talk about how to success or even elevate our career path. So if anyone you have questions, you can let us know. If not, we will wait for our Q&A session or panel discussion. We could probably have more kind of interactions between each other. If no, then I was going to move on to our next and a young female researcher, Emily. So Emily, she is a PhD candidate at Rochester Institute of Technology. And one of I think is very impressed by her experiences that she is actually the recipient of the 2023 Google PhD Fellowship. And that is an international award for the doctoral researchers. So very congratulations to you, Emily. And she has already published at the top tiers conferences, and she got the research internship at the Meta Reality Labs, Uncharted Softwares, and I think a lot of this kind of thing is really up for undergraduate student or for the people who are already in the master or the PhDs that they would like to know how can we gain the internship there or to win that kind of the awards. And most important is that what is your academic journey that you would like to share with us, and whoever from Waterloo, she is your alumni. Emily is actually undergraduate from the University of Waterloo, and her major is biomedical engineering. So next, I would welcome Emily to share her story. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. I'm going to share my screen now.
Okay.
All right, awesome. So I'd like to share a little bit about my career journey and basically how I got to where I am now. So like Maggie just introduced, I am one of the recipients of the Google PhD Fellowship. Just to give a little bit more introduction, there are 67 fellows in the world this year. And specifically in my research area, which is human-computer interaction, there were 8 awardees. So I'm from Rochester Institute of Technology, and there is someone else from the University of Toronto, actually, and then other universities around the world. So it is a very prestigious fellowship, and I would like to share a little bit about how I got here. So this is a very quick overview of my journey. So I was born in Shenzhen, China. And then during my elementary school, I immigrated with my parents to Toronto. My high school, I went to TOPS at Marc Garneau. And like we mentioned, I did my undergrad in biomedical engineering at the University of Waterloo. And then I moved on to do my PhD in computing and information science at Rochester Institute of Technology. And that's actually a very short drive from Toronto. It's about 4 hours. So I'm able to go to school and as well as come home on the weekends. So that's really nice for me to have both work-life balance. And my last sort of tip point on the roadmap was just exciting times ahead because I really look forward to see what I hope to achieve in the future. So I think, a lot of my experience comes down to a very early interest in STEM. So in my high school, like I mentioned, I went to TOPS, and this basically is a high school program, but is within the public school system. And they offered enriched math, science, as well as English curriculum. And we also went on a lot of trips, so we get exposed to things like ecological data collection at Algonquin Provincial Park. And as part of our courses, we participate in various science fairs, as well as have AP courses and run math contests. So as you can see, even from high school, I was involved in a lot of these math, science, and enriched activities. So then when I wanted to apply for university, I really wanted to combine this interest in STEM with this passion for helping people. And as I was applying, I went, to the Ontario Universities Fair, and I looked at all of the different programs that were available. And something that caught my attention was biomedical engineering. And I realized that it was a very new program. I was part of the second cohort. So when I applied, there were only one cohort of students and no one had actually graduated from the program at all. And so I thought, this was really new and it would be an exciting field to get involved in. And for those people who are, familiar with Waterloo, you will realize that it is a very rigorous curriculum, and there is a co-op program that you have to go through. For engineering, it is almost up to 5 years of your undergrad. So I would like to quickly show what my undergrad looked like. So as soon as I started in 1A, 1B, there's co-op terms basically that you alternate between studying and co-op. And so as part of the program, I actually conducted 6 terms of co-op internships. So for example, I worked as a research assistant full-time on one of my co-ops. And then in my 2A and 3A term, I worked part-time, continued working part-time as a research assistant while I was on my study terms. And then for my second co-op, I worked as a research assistant at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto. And then the next co-op, I worked as an optics engineering intern, also in a company in Toronto. And then I worked as a computer vision developer. And then my last 2 co-op terms, I did them both at Huawei's Human-Machine Interaction Lab. So as you can see that if you're applying for university, I would suggest, Waterloo in terms of the sense that it will get you not only just experience in studying, but also it will give you experience working in a wide range of companies to see where you want to work in the future, so you can get exposed to a different range of opportunity. So basically, my tip, if you were looking for internships, is to don't be afraid to network. I found some of my internships through the Waterloo website, but also I did a lot of connections on LinkedIn. just sending messages, connection requests, as well as attending career fairs at your own institutions and talking to recruiters. So being really open-minded about the opportunities and not being afraid to go up to people and network. So that's sort of the key takeaway from this portion. And next, I wanted to talk about pursuing a PhD because it is a very big and very, it's a very big commitment that you have to make for the next 4 or 5 years of your life. And so I wanted to, give people an idea of what it's like to do a PhD and the different factors and opportunities that it can open you up to. So as you can see, in going back to my timeline, I was involved in research a lot during my undergrad. So I spent, 4 out of my 6 co-op terms, doing something that was related to research. And, and part of that was because I realized I really like doing research. So that's why I kept, going back and doing it. So if you wanted to get a taste of what it's like to do research, I would encourage you to get involved with research quickly during your undergrad as well. And then for me, that decision process was really in my last co-op term, I got exposed to this field called human-computer interaction. I just put the definition up here for those who are unfamiliar. It is a multidisciplinary field of study that focuses on the design of computer technology, and in particular, the interaction between the humans, which are the users, and the computers. So you can see that everything that we interact with is HCI because every time you open your phone, every time you open your laptop, every time you watch TV, every time you order food, a lot of these decisions are how we interact with the technology around us. And as someone who was going through undergrad in biomedical engineering, I felt like a lot of my work was very technical. I was coding a lot, I was building circuits, I was doing a lot of things that was purely technical. And I realized that human-computer interaction could allow me to have this opportunity to design and evaluate new technology. So that's why I shifted towards the field of human-computer interaction. And this is one of the a really quick summary of what doing a PhD is like. So the first picture is, you imagine a circle that contains all of human knowledge. And then by the time you finish elementary school, you get to the blue circle. By the time you finish high school, you get to the green circle. With a bachelor's degree, you gain a specialty, which is that orangish color. And then if you get a master's degree, that, you continue deepening your specialty. And then if you read research papers, that will actually take you to the edge of human knowledge. And then at the boundary, you focus. And then you push at the boundary for a few years until one day the boundary gives away. And that little small dent that you made is called a PhD. So of course, the world to you right now looks like that little dent, but there is the bigger picture of, where your research area lies within that all of human knowledge. So as you can see, you're spending a lot of your time in a very small focus area. So I do think that, this is what doing a PhD is like. It's not getting general knowledge, it's really building up specialty in small area. So I would like to share a SWOT analysis for a PhD. So, the most important strength that you will gain is expertise development. Just like what I showed before, you're really looking really deeply in examining a very small research area. You get exposed to career opportunities because there are some jobs such as being a university professor or being a research scientist where the minimum qualification is having a PhD. So that will open you up to different career opportunities. Other strength is teaching or mentoring. A big part of doing a PhD is to mentor younger students and to teach other students. And other things that you get exposed to is networking opportunities, working across different universities, international institutions. So there's a lot of networking and collaboration. In terms of the weaknesses, like you mentioned, you are trying to push at the boundary of human knowledge. So there could be a lot of research challenges. It may not always go well. Your experiments might fail. You might not, know what the best way to do something is. So there is a lot of research challenges that could, make your progress slow down. There's also a big time commitment because, like I mentioned, you are spending 4 to 5 years of your life. That's additional time that you're not making a lot of money because you're a student. For, if you do something else, if you work at a big company or if you're building your own startup, that is a lot of financial strain that can happen to you. And then PhD students are known for having really bad work-life balance. So that's definitely a weakness that I have to point out. In terms of opportunities, like I mentioned, there's still also opportunities to do internships. You also publish at top tier conferences. And then if you do get into those conferences, you can travel. So for example, as part of my PhD, conference traveling, I was able to go to Germany. I was able to go to New Orleans, go to all these places that I probably wouldn't have the opportunity to go to if it was just for vacationing. And then also another opportunity is innovation, because you are trying to push at that human boundary. So then if you build up a really new tool or build up something special or new, there's that opportunity to turn it into a startup. And in terms of threats, so I've listed limited application. So which just basically means that because you are focusing on a very small area, it may not be applicable to, a lot of what other companies are looking for. And also market saturation, like we've talked about in the previous speakers, it is a very difficult market right now. And in terms of, when layoffs happen, one of the first people that they cut are researchers, because we're trying to build up new technology, we're trying to invest in the future. But when the market is not doing well, they will keep the core engineers to keep the company running, but they may not invest as much into research. And then another threat I would say is mental health, just because of how toxic academia or faculty could be. You're really trying to push at the boundary, and you may not always feel like you're supported in what you're trying to do. And then so I wanted to just share a little bit about the internships that I've been on. Like I mentioned, internships is one of the opportunities. And there are two types of internships really that I could do. The first one is very research focused, which is what I did at Uncharted Software. And the product, or I guess the outcome of that, was a paper that I published and got the PES Paper Award. But also you could go and work at bigger companies as a UX research intern. So UX stands for user experience. And I had the opportunity to work on two really cool products, I think, in last summer as well as this summer. So I worked on the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. And then I also worked on the Meta Quest 3 mixed reality headset. So doing a PhD opened me up to these opportunities to work at the cutting edge of technology that I wouldn't have gotten the chance to otherwise. So my slide, or my advice for students who are interested in graduate studies, is to get involved in research early. If you're currently an undergrad, ask your professors for part-time research opportunities. If you're closer to graduating or in your master's school, you could try to email researchers at other institutions and for remote collaborations. And then the last thing is to just apply to multiple programs, because it is very competitive. Don't just focus on one program, because that might not make you the most competitive in that sense. And then another thing that is very dear and near to my heart is women in STEM. So I talked about how I did 8 internships at 8 different companies. Out of all of the the work experience that I've had, I've only had 2 female mentors or managers when I worked at these companies. And then if you look at one level up, so that's like my skip manager, so my manager's manager, or the team leads, that number decreases to 1 out of the 8. And this is my personal experience, but I really hope that, through myself and through others as well, we want to encourage young women to pursue a career in STEM. And so, like all the other speakers like I had before, I'm just wanted to leave everyone with 3 main things that I've learned throughout my career development. So the first one, like I mentioned, don't be afraid to network. The best case, you get a referral from someone or you get an offer from someone. And the worst case is, they ignore you. You don't get a response. But if you think about it, that's the same result as if you didn't try at all, right? And when I say, don't be afraid to network, I mean, like, you should prepare. You should customize your messages. Don't send the same thing to everyone, because then it's very obvious that you're just sending a template. The second thing is to identify your marketable skills. So like I mentioned, you're doing a PhD, academia really values subject matter expertise. but companies will hire you for, skills that you have. So maybe for me, I would say it would be, ability to conduct research, being able to have effective communication, having that ability to solve complex problems. So you can see that these are skills that you can take with you no matter what the context of your work is. And the last thing is really just to stay patient and persistent. Everyone encounters setbacks, such as, you get a low mark on an exam, you get rejected your paper, or your job application gets rejected. You really wanted to take care of your mental health, first of all, and as well as to remember and celebrate these small victories. And my last thing is, if you have any questions, I have a personal website that you can check out. And I have also left my email on the screen in case anyone wants to ask me any questions. And with that, I'll stop sharing and happy to take any questions that you have.
Thank you, Emily. I so enjoyed your sharing, and just as Harry said, that I cannot agree more that what is PhD journey means. So if you're not really that determined to pursue a PhD, just I hope that you could gain a little bit insight from Emily's sharing and think carefully. But once you have committed, hopefully that you could just make the most of your encourage and get it done. So that is really a very enriching and satisfying journey, but it is probably sometimes a little bit lonely, a little bit solo journey, but you have to endure that path. And until sometimes it's even really, really dark moments. It's not all highlight shining moments, but I think that if you like the thing that you like, if you choose to do a PhD with your own passion, then it won't be a regret journey that you're going to pursue. Okay, so next we would like to welcome our next speaker, Tao. So Tao, he is a master candidate in the data science, and also at AI. He is also from the University of Waterloo. So today we do have a lot of UW alumni, and he had his data scientist internship at the OSC, so Ontario Security Commissions, and I know that a lot of the UW students have to do a lot of work that while you are pursuing your academic success. And so Tao has previous work experiences in machine learning associate, data analysis, business analysis intern across the healthcare, insurance, and e-commerce industry. So I'm curious, and I hope that my audience is also curious about how you survived from the UW and also can balance that your academic workload and also your working intern and other kind of the thing. So welcome, Tao, to give your sharing.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie. Yeah, so let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, so hello everyone. So my name is Tao. Yeah, I'm currently a student that is studying the data science and AI at University of Waterloo. And currently I'm doing my data scientist intern at Toronto, at Ontario Security Commission. So who is doing something like the data modeling and data visualization. And then also I have many previous working experience that is doing something like the machine learning, like the business analytics and data analytics in different companies. Yeah. So let me show more about my previous experience. So my last experience was a machine learning associate at SparkMed. So during that experience, I was doing a modeling analysis for disease classification. So for example, like when a patient they may have a disease or not, then I am using the machine learning model to doing the classification to make sure that our group is making the correct classification. So the classification means like when we label the disease, like label them to 0, 1, 2, and then other labels, and then we can using our model to training the data to make sure the modeling is understand the hidden variables of the data, and then after that, our result, like showing a very good result. And then we also publish a paper that is showing our disease predictions. And during this job, I also doing something like the data cleaning, data preprocessing, and machine learning, also for the deep learning, to make sure that I get succeed for this job. And then for my current role, I'm doing the data scientist intern at Ontario Security Commission, so which is within the government. So just like we have like regulations for different commerce companies, some top banks, and so just like when the companies, they need to doing something like the investment, then they need to come to our company to doing the registration. So our team is doing something like the solving the data request, data visualization, and also doing the risk models by using the data science technologies. Yeah, and then let me doing the summarization for the factors of the successful. So so the factor of success, that is including the interest and passion. So you need to have interest in some topics, and then you can success. Then you can have energies to doing the same things again and again. And then you also need to try in different kind of the opportunities to make sure like what kind of the job is your desiration. And then also for the soft skill and hard skill, I also will talk about that. And the last two things is the setting the smart goals, and then also currently the ChatGPT is very famous for everyone, so everyone knows the AI. So I'm also showing about some opinions by myself that is for the AI, and to help you to success during your work, during your study. So first, let me talk about the definition of the curiosity. So just like you need to have the curiosity to learn the new knowledges, and then you need to be powerful when you are learning something that you want. And then I can show you about one of my story that is from my young. So just like when I was young, I always like passionate by the mathematics formulas, by mathematical knowledges. So that is why I can just like study the mathematics for a whole afternoon or a whole evening. And after that, I just like joined different kind of the mathematical competition for more than 10 years until my undergrad study. So because of that, I have the passion for studying the mathematics. So that's why so before my undergrad, my dream is to become a mathematician, to solving the difficult mathematical problems. But like after that, one of my career change starts when COVID-19 comes. So when COVID-19 comes, I know like the Victor, he also joined the DDQS's program. So I also joined that, and our team was solving a problem that is by the data analytics and machine learning to solving a real world problem that is for the COVID-19. So I think that for during that time, I was fascinated by the AI. So that is because like previously I just like saw something like the AlphaGo. So so that kind of the AI technology may like having some chances to replace some of the humans' work. So that is the reason for why I'm passionate about this thing. So I'm spending a lot of time to studying for the data analytics part, and then for the machine learning part, and then at last we made some successful models to predict the death rate for when we know the user's information. And then also we having something like the image classification to classify the if a person wear a mask or not. So during that time, I was only at the second year study. Yeah, and then after that, I just feel like if I have been the interest and the passion, that everything will be much more easier than before. So then let me talk about which kind of the opportunity that the students or the young people they should have. So for the young person that is maybe in the high school, maybe in the first 2 years of the undergrad study, so you can choose to go into some clubs, volunteers, project, and competition that may relevant to your future work. So I suggest this is because when you are during your first 2 years, or during the high school, you don't have any working experience. So you need to prepare for your first co-op or your first internship. So just like before you finding the first co-op and internship. So I think and another reason is like the clubs volunteers, so they are easy to join. So they don't have a very high standard to join this kind of the opportunities. So most of the students, they can choose to join this. And then after you have many internships or several internships, then you can choose to have more internships, part-time and research job, and then search for the full-time job. So for myself, I have all of the experience above. So that is why I succeed in the previous job market. So another thing is like I also saw like many speakers like say this is about a start for now. So if you are searching for a job or if you are studying an entrepreneur, so if you have any ideas for that, you should start for now. So just like don't wait for until you are graduate then finding your internship. So I think that is too late. Yeah, and here are also the other kind of the resources to just like getting the clubs, volunteers, and internships. So when you are at school, the student government always have different kind of the internships or volunteers experiences. So I think the volunteer is more, and so just like you can just start searching your school's student government, and then just like searching about this kind of the resources. And also like your career center can help you to writing your resume. I think it's more beneficial if you don't know about nothing, don't know about anything. But like if you already have some of the experience, then you can just like networking with other people to get more professional advices. So just like you can networking other people within the LinkedIn, and you can searching about some job title like the data scientist, like data analytics. Then or you can searching for who is your school's alumni. I think the alumni, they have more opportunities to answer your questions. Yeah. And then also, if you're and also for outside the school, then the company's website, they also have many information such as the competitions, such as the job opportunities that you can make search about. And then at least for something that is for the data science and AI. So these are all the competition platforms that is very useful for the data science and AI. So then let me talk about the soft skill and the hard skills. So the soft skills is including the communication, teamwork, and other things like the problem solving. So for this kind of the soft skills, you should be development during your previous internship or your previous work with other people. So how to showing your soft skills? So you need to provide specific examples on your resume, or you can just like telling others about your own story that is during the internship. So for example, when someone asking about like if there's any conflict between you and other people, then you can just like provide your own example that you previously prepared about. And then for the hard skills, I think the hard skills is really different than all of the soft skills. So just like for the hard skills, like usually within the tech role, such as the programming, and for this kind of the jobs, then you need to just like learning by yourself. So when you're seeing about the job description online, then you can see like what's the gap between you and then the job. Most of the cases, you have many job, so you have many skills that is not matched. So I think that is very normal. So it's just like if you are only study at school, then you don't have many opportunities to know about the other things that is in the different industries. So then you need to learn by yourself to prepare yourself. So for myself, I learned a lot of the online courses in DataCamp, in Coursera, in LinkedIn Learning, and then Udemy, the UDMI. And then after you learn this kind of the new technologies, you need to show your projects on the GitHub. The GitHub is very important for the tech roles. Then the recruiters can so they can see your GitHub profile and then see your previous codes and then your previous projects to know about like what's your previous work. Yeah, and also prepare relevant tech interviews questions. Yeah. And then the next thing is you need to set smart goals. The goals should be specific. So just like the goal should be clear for doing something. The goal should be measurable. Something like you are solving this problem for 1 day or 1 month, or you're solving how much problem by a measurable things. And then we want to make sure that the goal is hard but it's achievable. So I always setting goal for each day, week, month, and year. So just like when I get up for each morning, then I just like setting a goals and setting some plans for the whole day. And then I also and here is an example for myself. So in the future, I want to become a senior data scientist or data scientist managers within the 5 years, or I want to learning some of the knowledges within 1 month in what kind of the platforms. So yeah, so I think like the getting your smart goals for each day is really important. And then the last thing I want to show about is the AI revolution, and then how it impacts our daily life and how it impacts for how we find the job, and also for the entrepreneurs. So the AI, it was existing for many years. So just starting with the Google's AlphaGo, and then also like there's many AI models for the AI driving, AI classification, but like now it has more significant demands for everyone, because like if you have a computer, then you can easily to get access to the AI. So that is really different than previous years. So previous years only a tech person can get access to the AI. Yeah, and then what the AI can do. So AI can analyze anything that is related to the languages, voice, pictures, and maybe in the future, in the computer system, we can just like we can say something and then like the computer to do the job by themselves. So for example, we can just like tell the computer like open an app, then the computer can automatically help us to open an app. And also when we want the computer to sending an email to some people about something, and then the computer can like in the future they can automatically generate the email and help us to sending to other people. So I think that is a future trend for the AI. So about the challenges for the job, the AI can take over some part of the job, including the job that doing some simple work, such as the job doing the repetitive task. Such as here, I list an research article to showing that AI have some opportunity to take part of some parts of the work for the data analytics. So because previously I did this job before, so from my understanding, so for now we can use the AI to fasten our work, to make our to just like saving our time a little bit. But like in the future, they maybe have some chances that can take over our job. Yeah, and then the suggestion for myself is like we need to using the AI to increase our working efficiency, and at least a lot of the works that can be done by AI, including the coding, including the debug. Social medias, such as you can, if you want to post something in the social media, then you can just like let AI to generate some words for you, let AI to generate the picture for you. Yeah, also it's a drawing the pictures, and also the AI can help us to getting new knowledges, such as the AI. Previously, we need to search Google to getting more information, but now the when we search it in a ChatGPT or other kind of the AI, or the generative AI, then it can help us to summarize the kind of the information and from the different websites, and then let us to save a lot of time to reading the messages, and also it can help us to having the mock interview, and then help us to changing our resume, and then. For the entrepreneur, we can consider about the new ideas that can solving by AI. Some example include the Wix.com, the AI technology that automatically generate the website for us, and the Google Colab. So at least this is because like when doing my work, I open the Google Colab when I using the pandas function in the Python, and then open a data frame, and it has a button that can help us to automatically join some pictures that is related to this data set. So I think that is a very good idea for using the AI. And also for the TD Insurance, it uses the chatbot that can help help the assistant to answer your question about the TD Insurance. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the ethics in AI. So that is an essential topic within all AI graduate program. So in all AI graduate program, we always have some workshop that is for the ethic in AI. So that is so one of the topic is about the bias and discrimination. Yeah, so the bias mean if the model is and they had different performance for different group of people. So such as for the male and female, they have different performance. So that is a kind of the bias and discrimination. So when we develop the LLMs, we want to make sure that they have the similar results for different group of the people, and then make sure the AI don't have any kind of the bias. And also for everyone, we need to consider about the data collection issues. So that is because while doing your work and study, so you need to consider if the AI will get your own data. So if you don't care, that's fine. But if you care about the AI will collect your own data. So just for example, if you ask something to the AI will use the data to retrain their model, and then maybe in the future when other people they ask the similar question to the AI, they may get your personal information. So that is a risk for using the AI. So you must consider about that. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, so please let me know.
Thank you, Tal. And I have personally learned a lot, especially from the AI part. It did impact for a lot of our lives, and especially during higher education, during the COVID and post-COVID. I personally, as a teaching staff, have already been impacted by the ChatGPT, and how we're going to deal with that. It did give a lot of the benefits, but of course, it has a lot of challenges that we have to think about it. And from the professional part, from the career part, it did give a lot of the great opportunities for the young generations, with no doubt. So yeah, thank you so much for your passionate sharing. And if anyone you have questions, please feel free to leave your questions in the chat box. And after our last but not least Yidu's sharing, then we will going to get our Q&A session and discussion session. Okay, so our last but not least wonderful guest tonight. Guest speaker tonight is Yidu Sun. Yidu, from a very quite different from the previous one. The previous one, most are from talking about technologies, but Yidu actually is a law background, so entertainment, media, and intellectual property attorney in music, in film, in TV, in video games, visual art and literature, digital asset and artificial intelligence industries as well. Wow, very interesting background, entrepreneur and the talent manager, and also the consultant for the artists, the business and nonprofit. So, but a quite different academic journey, not from a Canadian university, but the University of the South California in the Southwest Law School. So now let's welcome Yidu to embark the journey for all of us. Welcome.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. My name is Yidu, and good evening. Let me put up my slides.
Sure.
All right, so I wanted to talk about finding your path to success, and this is my guide as a multi-hyphenate in navigating your career and your life. So the agenda for today's presentation, there's 6 main parts. I would like to talk about how success is a journey. I want to talk about what it means to have a call of adventure. I want to talk about what's in your backpack, what happens when you're setting out and getting lost, travel companions, the people you surround yourself with, and the issues that you arrive with forging your own path. So just to give you a brief overview of what this presentation will do is that I will be giving you my personal advice and insight about how to approach these different topics, and then I'm going to apply that to how I've gotten to where I am today. And hopefully that these this presentation and these ideas will be helpful for you. So the first thing I want to do before we begin is to define what a multi-hyphenate is. So a multi-hyphenate is a person, especially a celebrity, with several professions or skills. Usually these are within the entertainment industry or creative spaces. Essentially, they're people who have different roles, who fulfill different roles at the same time. And this is my brief bio. I work as an entertainment attorney, entrepreneur, manager, consultant within the entertainment industry. My main goal is to empower, elevate, and amplify minority voices within the industry by working with artists, businesses, nonprofits of color. Outside of my work, I am a professional musician, singer, composer, author, published poet, spoken word artist, and photographer. And I also strongly believe in the power of storytelling and building understanding and community, and how that applies to being an entrepreneur and how that applies to being an attorney. And my interests include reading, watching movies and TV, playing music and video games, and also love enjoying long conversation, history, and other topics. So the first thing I want to say is that success is not a destination. And the reason why I want to say that, because the definition of success, according to the dictionary, is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. And I personally find this definition to be very rigid, static, and stagnant, because it does not allow for flexibility, does not allow for the idea that humans, we are social creatures, we change, we grow. So the reason why I think, as someone from an Asian background, we're always told that we want to be a certain thing. We want to be a doctor, we want to be an engineer, we want to be a lawyer, and things like that. But one thing they don't really talk about is what happens when you achieve those goals. What does success look like then? So the thing I'm proposing is that success is a state of being. It's being happy with who you are, where you are right now in your life, and finding fulfillment and satisfaction within that. And this allows you to not only be flexible and malleable and what you want to do and how you approach things, but also it allows you to be sustainable, allows the success to be sustainable so that you can ride this wave throughout your entire life. So the call of venture is what I call the reason why you want to do things. So this is one of my favorite quotes of all time. This is by Albert Schweitzer, who is a polymath. And he says, the purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. So my question to everyone while you're thinking about these things is, why do you want to be successful? Is it for money? Is it for fame? Do you want to be comfortable in your life and things like that? But for me personally, that quote that you just saw was basically my reason, my purpose, and motivation. And to differentiate those, I want to talk about how the reason is the logic. So it's your desire. So it's wanting to help, it's wanting to serve. The meaning is what you want to get out of it. So to show compassion, so it's helping is meaningful to me. And the will to help others, that's your motivation. So that's what you want to do in life. So the reason why I bring this up is because ever since I was a child, I knew that what I wanted to do as a career or as an artist or as a professional, it doesn't matter. What I wanted to do was be able to connect with people and help them in my own particular way. So you want to build these central tenets that becomes your life code. And this can be the backbone for everything that you want to do in life, whether that, again, that's your job, that's your side hustle. It doesn't really matter. What matters is if finding this central aspect. And everyone is different. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has different approaches to life. But the best thing to do is to find what that is and build what you want to do around it so that it becomes fulfilling to do those things. So for example, for me, I really didn't like how that in the entertainment industry, there's not a lot of, in America and Canada, there's not a lot of Asian representation. So as a career, as an entertainment attorney, one of my goals is to make sure that there's more Asian representation. And by doing that, I will be helping other creatives like me, actors, writers, authors, things like that. And that is helping them to basically get their work out there and have their voice be heard. And that ties with my central tenet of I want to use my skills to help people And it doesn't really matter how much money I get from that or how much fame I get from that. It's the idea of being able to help someone with my own particular set of skills. So part of the journey of success is to discover yourself, is to discover the world. So to discover is to experiment, to fail, and to learn. So the reason why I said broad strokes leads to depth, what I mean is that you want to be able to try different things. You want to be able to figure who you are and what drives you, what angers you, and turn that into what really moves you to do what you want to do. So the first step is experiment. And for example, for me in high school, I did a bunch of different things. I did academic research. I studied under a Nobel Prize awarded professor at University of Toronto doing biological research. I started a bunch of companies when I was in high school in various different fields, from fashion to advertising and marketing, things like that. I also explored my creative interest. I was a musician for a really long time, and I went into writing poetry, and I'm a published author now, and that experimentation led me down to that path of exploring what my creative interests are, but also what my academic interests are, as well as what my business interests are. And through that process of experimenting, you will fail, and failure is a necessary part of success because it teaches you two things. It teaches you what is not for you, so what you do not like doing, and it also teaches you where you are lacking. And these mistakes and these failures, they could become lessons. And then you repeat that process, you keep experimenting, you keep failing, and then through that process, you learn more about yourself, what you want to do, who you are, the people around you, who they are, how they can help you, and the world, and what you want to get out of the world, how you want to interact with others, people, and the world. And through that process, you will start to develop these certain pathways in life that you can see for yourself once you get older. So you can know what kind of career you want to do, or at least how the work manifests as, which is something I will get into later. So when you set out on this journey, you're going to have three important things that I like to call a part of your backpack, your journey backpack. First thing is the compass. The second thing is the map. And the third thing is your toolkit. So the compass is essentially things in your life and within you that guides you. So these are your values, your morals, your passions, your desires, your interests, what really moves you again, and how that manifests in what you want to do. The second thing is the concept of mirrors, which I get into a little later, but these are the family, these are your relationships, these are the communities around you. They basically inform you of what things are possible and what people are interested in seeing you do and what you want to do compared to what other people are doing. And the reason why you have a strong compass is that so you can keep aligned in your journey so that you don't trail off, you know what you want to do, and just have that determination to keep pushing forward. And the map is essentially the spectrum, the broad spectrum of what you can do and what you're interested in. And through that, the way you build out your map is identify what you want to do. So for me, I wanted to become a lawyer because I experimented. I took an internship in high school at a law firm in Toronto. And I realized this is what I want to do in my life. I was told that I should do medicine. I was told I should do other things, but they never really interested me. So that's how I identified what I wanted to do. And then I did research. I looked into it. What do I need to do to become a lawyer? So I need to graduate high school. I need to go to a college, go to university. Then I have to graduate that. I have to take the LSAT exam, which is the entrance exam for law schools. Then I have to go through law school, do well, and then take the bar exam and get licensed. So these are all identifiable goals in this map that I've created for myself. And then I make a plan to achieve those goals. So how am I going to get into college? So I have to study for my SATs, for my ACTs, if we're going to the American schools. I have to do extracurricular activities to make myself stand out. And that's where all that experimentation comes in, so that you have diverse pathways for yourself to get into the location that you wanted to go to. And lastly, you train your toolkit. So these are your skills and your knowledge. And as previously stated, your hard and soft skills. And your hard skills are basically your knowledge, your ability to do something that's very technical, or is just an expression or application of the information you've learned. And you get this from school or elsewhere. And learning from school isn't the only way to learn. So your soft skills is something that I definitely recommend really focusing on, because that's not something that's really taught in schools. That's done through trial and error. So your communication skills, your skills for presentations, your skills to feel empathy and feel sympathy for other people, to cooperate, to create and critical think and solve problems. These things aren't really taught in school. These are something you have to do in order to learn. And at the end of the day, the best thing to really keep in mind when you're thinking about your compass, your map, and your toolkit is to be adaptable. And that's why I had the Bruce Lee quote, is to be like water, and water is very adaptable. So whatever situation you're in, you want to be able to understand, this is what I can do right now. This is what I'm lacking, and be able to change and learn and grow so that you can, whatever path you take or whatever life throws at you, you can always stay aligned to what you wanted to do. And the next thing I want to talk about is travel companions. So you're on your journey to success, you're never alone. You always want to invest in the people you meet. So this is where I want to get into the concept of mirrors, which is something I've been telling a lot of people, a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, a lot of my mentees, is the concept of mirror is so important in your life. So mirrors are things, or in this case, people that will reflect yourself back to you. So this allows you to really analyze yourself without having that bias from within. So your friends and family, your teachers, your mentors, your cooperators and confidants, these are all people who can tell you, hey, like, this is what I think about you. This is what I think you should do, or hey, this is really a good opportunity for you. Hey, this is something I wish I see you do more of. So you can get feedback from them. And that's what mirrors are. They reflect yourself back to you so you can learn more about yourself. And at the same time, you build these relationships, because good mirrors are mirrors that are polished, meaning that you've developed these relationships for a good amount of time. So you want to invest in these people so that they are in a good terms with you, so that they can act as these people, as these mirrors for you. And that goes back to a lot of people what I've been saying this whole forum, is that networking is important to achieve that. But a lot of people don't really talk about the more important thing is maintaining those connections. You can network as many times as you want. You can meet 100, 200 people, but that all that doesn't matter if you don't actually actively maintain those connections. You meet up with them, you follow up with them, you talk with them, you share things about them, you hang out with them, and things like that. You got to have to do that work in order to build these relationships, because just because you've met them once at some networking event doesn't mean that they're willing to help you or go out of the way to do something that's not expected from them. But more importantly, you also don't want to forget to meet and invest in yourself. So you want to understand who you are. Like I said, how do you want to work? How do you respond to stress? What is important to you? The more internal things. And that's where introspection comes in, and how that, while you think and reflect, the more you understand yourself, and the more you can customly tailor your map, your compass, and your toolkit so that you can go in the direction that you want to go. And this goes back to not just doing things that are specifically relevant to what you want to do as a career, is learn whatever interests you. It doesn't have to be just about your job or just the skills you need, just anything that interests you, because learning itself, the process is important, because it keeps you sharp, it keeps you prepared, and it keeps you adaptable. And that's the biggest, if you want the most important takeaway from this presentation, is to be adaptable. And by doing that, you can start doing the things you love doing. So don't forget about your hobbies and interests. So for me, That would be music, that would be poetry and things like that. And I was able to combine my hobbies and interests into the career that I built for myself as an entertainment attorney, as a talent manager, as a consultant for artists and things like that. And these are very important because they're not really work, so you don't treat it as work. And because of that, you can take a different type of joy from them, and that will keep you grounded and rooted so that you don't burn out, so that you self-care. And that's really important to nurture yourself so that you don't waste time. You also don't spend too much energy that you don't need to. And speaking of that, resting and stopping and taking breaks is really important in the path to success. You should not be burning yourself out. You should not be keep going forward to the point where you're tiring yourself out, because once you're tired, once you're stressed, you're not going to be performing at the best you can. And that's why your well-being is paramount, whether that's your physical health, mental health, or spiritual health. Taking care of those things will help you to make sure that you'll be aligned and keep on going on the path that you want to go on. All right, so in terms of paths, there's two concepts I want you guys to understand when we're going on the path or journey to success is the path that we take and the trail that we leave behind. So the first thing I want to talk about is the hero's journey. I'm sure you probably heard about this before in your high school English class, but it's still very important. It's not necessarily understanding what it is, but it's the idea of that you're going to go through hard times and you're going to come out of it transformed. So you go through tribulations and transformations, and this will keep you going. The idea that I will make mistakes, I will fail, I will need to learn. And once I learn, I adapt, I become better, and I'll have more skill and I could do better things. And that goes into the whole idea that paths converge and diverge, meaning that there's more than one way to do something to get somewhere. There's more than one way to leave somewhere or proceed from something. So for example, I really wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was in elementary school and high school. But a lot of people kept telling me, well, you need a lot of money for that. You need to build a network for that. You need to go to business school for that. But all of these are just recommended paths or potential paths that you can take. And for me, when I was pursuing law school, pursuing entrepreneurship seriously, one of the people I've met said that you will be wasting your time if you go to law school if you want to be an entrepreneur. And sure, some people think that is a waste of time, but that's where the idea of being challenged and being open to criticism comes from. So you can really understand what position you are in and then figure out how you want to really go about it. And for me, my understanding was that, well, as an entrepreneur, doesn't matter what industry I am in, doesn't matter what I want to do as an entrepreneur, I need to have a lawyer on my team. I need to have someone who understands the law to basically allow me to do what I want to do, allow me to solve the problems I want to solve. So why would I need to pay someone else or hire other people, have a full legal team when I can just have this understanding and do it all myself and don't have to worry about it? So that's like these ideas of multiple different ways of getting to one position and also being open to other people's ideas and or their criticism about what you want to do and how you want to do it. And you take those, you synthesize those, break them down so that you can start choosing and picking which ways you want to do things so that it matches what you want to do and what you find fulfillment in. And this is where the ambition and determination and perseverance really comes in. Because if you have ambition, if you're courageous, you dare to dream, you dream big, and you imagine a lot of things. And these are all how you want to build out your map. Then you stick to the plan, you expect the unexpected, and be open to change. Is where the adaptation comes in. This is where your compass comes in. And then when you fall and you get back up and you backtracked, if you failed, if you don't want to do something anymore, and that's okay, because that's all part of the grand scheme of your journey. Now, this part is really important to me, and I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about it when they're discussing their career or their profession or their companies, is why are you doing these things in terms of what is the ramifications and consequences of these things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the importance of sharing these things. Like, why did I agree to come here to talk to you guys? And that's because I want to share my dream. I want to tell you my story. And dreams are really important because they build trust, they build empathy, and they build compassion with the other people. Because everyone has dreams, everyone has goals, everyone wants to do something, everyone wants to be something. And this idea of sharing it, we really build community through that. You build understanding through that. And that is very important. And this goes into reputation and legacy. And the first thing I want to make a distinction between those two. Reputation is something that can be repaired. It's basically how people know you. And legacy is always internal. That is the trail that you leave. What would people think about you after you moved on? What would people think about you and the accomplishments you've done? That is more important. Reputation, again, can always be fixed, can always be repaired. But what impact do you want to leave on the world? What impact do you want to leave on your friends? What impact do you want to leave on your community? That is really important. And that, to me, is something I wish everyone would consider in doing, in pursuing their career and pursuing their businesses and things like that. And lastly, I feel like every speaker here can also attest to this, is part of that is becoming an inspiration. And for me, I give back to the community a lot. I do a lot of pro bono services for a lot of Asian American artists, Asian American businesses, production companies, things like that. And it doesn't really matter who they are, but I want to give back to the community to inspire other people, to give them the resources they need. And when you think about these things, when you think about your career, your profession, your businesses that you want to create, what does that inspiration look like? What does it mean to inspire other people for you? And that can greatly help your business grow, your career grow. Lastly, I want to summarize this presentation. The journey to success is a highly personalized one. Everyone is different. But one thing that is for certain is that you will have to discover yourself. You have to discover the world. You're going to fail, but that is okay. You want to seek your passions, your common goals, your reasons to do things you want to do, and that will inform you of how you want to move forward. And when you start moving forward, you start meeting people that will be able to help you. And once you start having these companions to travel with, the clearer the path will become. But no matter how difficult, all paths are meant to be walked. So you have to keep pushing forward. Life teaches you, experiences nurture you, and passion motivates you. Don't forget to learn and love yourself. Lastly, dare to dream. Best of luck. That's the end of my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you. Wow, it's like a poem. It's so beautiful, and thank you so much for the sharing. And I think that right now that all of our excellent speakers have finished their sharing, and thanks for all of you generously share your knowledge, your experience, your insightful, sometimes even the reflections. And I really hope that all these stories, wisdom as enlightening and motivates as I did. And I feel that there are some kind of this sparks already in the air. And that is the objective of this forum. We designed this forum as an inspiration to empower our youth to fuel their dreams and to equip more of our youth generation with the tools, with the knowledge needed to excel their professional careers and embarks on the innovative adventures and sometimes embrace entrepreneurship. So I hope this great sharing that by our 5 excellent speakers have perfectly serve this purpose. And as I have already posted in our chat box, I don't know whether Yidu, I know that Harry has left, Victor has left, but they have left their own contact information in the chat box. So if you still have a personalized questions you would like to contact this too, then feel free to write your email or add them in the linking. So right now we have Tao, we have Idu, we have Emily still stay with us. So is that possible that we could probably answer the questions in the chat box? And if anyone still in any audience still have any kind of the other questions, feel free to shoot it in the chat box. So for Idu, Emily, and Tao, can you share a pivotal moment in your career or in your entrepreneurship journey or academic journey that have greatly influenced your path? So lady first. Is that okay, Emily?
Yes, sure. And so I think one pivotal moment for me is when I decided to do my PhD. Because at that time I was in my last year of my undergrad and I was trying to debate between different options. So, I could go get a job or I could continue doing grad studies. So it was really that point where I decided to do a PhD was the pivotal moment. And, that opened me up to a lot of opportunities, but it also opened me up to a lot of, I think, hardships in the sense that I didn't do a master's, so I didn't have that experience of knowing what doing full-time research is like. So I definitely think that, just talking to as many people as you can could help you sort of navigate to see what your future life might look like as a PhD student. And I think also, at the time I was applying, it was during the middle of COVID. So I think for my first year of my PhD, I was completely remote in my own house, in my own room, trying to navigate how to start and becoming a PhD student. So I think that also led me to feel very alone in my journey. So I definitely think that, there are external circumstances, but also, trying to do as much research as you can to see what you're getting yourself into would be a good idea.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. I think you really have a lot of echoes in our audience because a lot of our students here might have their first year undergrad or first year master programs also during the COVID and have to be separated from the real campus. And this is when we have already passed. And yeah, this is definitely a really good pivotal moment. And I'm glad that you have flourished well. So for Tao, do you want to pursue PhD? Will that be your pivotal moment?
Yeah, so my previous dream was to pursuing a PhD position, but at my second year study when the COVID-19 come, so at that time I changed my mind. So that is because during that time I'm joining a project that is for a data analytics and also for something like the image classification. So just after that project, I just changed my mind to just doing more things that is related to the data analytics and artificial intelligence. Yeah, so just before this time, so my preparation is all for the a pure mathematics, maybe like a master or a PhD degree. Yeah, but I think if you know more and more different kind of the jobs and try different kind of the opportunities, you may have different kind of the thoughts for different kind of the things. Yeah, so just within my undergrad, I trying different job opportunities, including but not limit with the data analytics, the business analytics, and also for so I think I also have a role for the data science. Yeah, so I think my first role is some part of the grade to the data science. Yeah, so I think when you're trying different kind of the roles, then you may know about what you should do in your future. Yeah.
That is the
So
really
that's everything.
good answer. Yeah, I have consulted for a lot of the parents or the kids that when they're choosing their majors, they're choosing whether or not to pursue a master degree or a PhD degree. And a lot of times that's, people's advice, yes, do matters and could share a lot of the insight and the impact. But out of at the end of the day, it is that you have to listen to your own voice to understand what you really want. But if before you really know the answer, trying maybe the best option that we could have. Keep on trying, and you will find, oh, this thing is I'm not good at it, or I really suck at that, why I have to suffer from that. Or, oh, this thing I never thought about, but it is quite cool. So yeah, I like it the way that you have do. And so how about Edu? Is the law school your pivotal moment?
For me, my pivotal moment is probably college. When I entered college, I already knew I wanted to go to law school. So law school wasn't really pivotal for me. I just felt it more like a formal thing I had to do because that's how the system works. And I have to abide by the system. But for me, it's more about what kind of law I wanted to do. That was more of the open air question. So I studied psychology and economics in college. I was a double major, and also had a minor in behavioral sciences. And I went into college understanding that I really was interested in either criminal defense or corporate law. So that's either businesses or defending criminals. And at that point, I did not actually have an idea of wanting to become an entertainment attorney. But throughout my experience in college, I did a lot of music in college. I was in orchestra, I was in choir, multiple choirs. So I had like rehearsal like 4 or 5 times a week. I wrote my own music, and for my undergraduate thesis, that as part of the honors program I was in, that's comparable to a master's program, I decided to do music psychology as my topic. And towards the end of my college career, I realized like I'm doing a lot of things that involve music, involving the arts. Why not combine the career that I wanted for myself with that, with those passions and hobbies? And that's when I decided I want to be an entertainment attorney. And here I am now.
Cool. So hopefully that sharing can answer some of the concerns, or still, someone are exploring their own journeys. And while you are sharing, you probably already have been touched upon several questions there. So for example, some of the challenges that you have been faced up, and why you determined or you choose to pursue a particular industry or field. Okay, so yes. Because we do have a very limited time here, so advice part. What advice do you have for the young professionals or for the aspirational entrepreneurs who are just starting their journey? I know that you have probably already shared in your presentation. So one more task for you. So is there anything you want to add on, or anything else that you haven't been have a chance to be included in your presentation? So I will do the other order. So starting from Edu, is that okay? Is there any other advice?
Well, outside of being adaptable is as the main key takeaway for my presentation. I think the other thing I really want to re-emphasize is just being able to dream and just imagine, because that is the catalyst, that is the starting point for everything. If you can dream about something, if you can imagine something that you want to do, that is the first step in actually in your journey to do that. So whatever that is, whatever that appears to you, whether that is starting a business or seeking a specific profession, that will inform and move you in your journey. And I think dreaming big and just think about all the possibilities and just love yourself to that point where you can dream all these things is the most important thing.
Yes, dream boldly. If you don't have that, listen to some music. Okay, so how about Tao?
Yeah, okay, sure. So let me show about so that I think the additional things like the people should be confident for the future, should be confident for whatever you want to deal with. So just like when you want to doing something, or just like you want to make your dream becomes true, then should not be afraid that maybe like you see something that is really hard to deal with. So just like be brave, just like you should have different trials. Don't be afraid of the failure. So when I was finding my previous internships, I always had many kind of the failures. So I think like for example, I just like applied for 200 jobs and then only 10 of them give me the interviews, and then maybe 1 or 2 of them give me the offer. So that is so I think that kind of things is really normal. So whatever you find a job, whatever you just like achieve a dream. So just like for example, previously I want to become a data scientist. Now I become a data scientist intern. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so don't ever, think about it as a small number. Sometimes the black swan wins. Okay, so how about Emily?
Yeah, I think the previous two speakers said something really important about, being able to dream big and be confident. I think personally, I've struggled a lot with imposter syndrome, and that's really because I care about what other people think about me. Like I shared in my internships, many times I was the only female in the room, and I felt like maybe my opinion didn't matter as much, or, I didn't feel comfortable speaking up or disagreeing with someone who was more senior than I am. So I really think that, and also another part of imposter syndrome is that you attribute a lot of things to luck. Like, oh, I got this award. I must have gotten really lucky this time. Or I might have achieved something else. I got this internship. Oh, maybe because other people also sucked. So that's why, the opportunity, fell onto me. So I really think that, when you think these thoughts, really you want to look at how you can validate yourself and know, like, your achievements are your own achievements. They're, from your own effort. Yes, luck can play a role, but that's not the main reason why you have all these achievements. So I think really it's validating yourself, not questioning yourself, not comparing yourself to other people, because it's very easy to do that.
I like that confidence and the power you share with all of us. So, okay, my last question from the audience is that which role has the networking? Because along the ways that you have mentioned that a lot of people have helped you. Okay, so what roles has networking and building relationship played in your career or in your journeys? Then do you have any tips for an effective networking? Because I have noticed even Victor and Harry and Edu has left your contact information. So yeah, what kind of the email or message that you're going to respond when people cold call to you? Tao, now is that possible that I could?
Okay, sure. Yeah, so just as for most of the cases, I will answer all of the questions. So just like if I see the question in the linking, then I will respond it. Yeah, so but like when I trying to like connect with other people, so maybe like we are knowing within some events, maybe we are the schoolmates, we are knowing in other kind of the places. So just like when you're adding the other people within the linking or within the WeChat or other kind of the social medias, then you should set in some of the messages. So just like you should have some initial greetings to other people. Yeah, so you may have something like the quick introduction to yourself. Yeah, and then after that you can just like based on your needs, then telling other people about like the information. So for example, you want to have something like the coffee chat with other people, then you can just like have a quick message for who I am, and then just like thanks for your speaking, and then maybe like can we have some time for the quick talk or something like the coffee chat. Yeah, so I think like I personally I respond to several of them, and then having some of the networkings, maybe online, maybe offline. Yeah.
Okay, so connection still works, and so if anyone you want to gain a lot of other kind of the information that probably Tao haven't shared today, and you really want to know how he gained, for example, the first intern, or how to get promoted in the various kind of the fields, how to have the transfer skills to transfer skills that he has developed along the ways, and try luck and to use the tips that he provided here and to try on him. So, okay, you probably will get a response, or at least the very first or quick response from Tao. And now I will have the Edu. So is there anything that you would like to share, the networking part?
Yeah, I'll first begin with some quick tips about being approached. For me, I think the most important thing is to be simple, honest, and straight to the point. When you're being approached by someone, especially someone you don't know, in networking situations, there's usually an understanding that, oh, you're trying to get to know me, so to get my network. So just being upfront, being honest, straight to the point is the best policy, in my opinion. And on the other side, when you're reaching out to people, especially in person, when you go to networking events, understand where you are coming from. So one thing, reason why I didn't do business school is because I knew that business school networking events are always very unhelpful. Because the people you're talking to, the professionals you're talking to, they already have the understanding that you are a student, and therefore will treat you like a student. And whatever connotations they have about students will immediately be applied to you. So when I was pursuing entrepreneurship and trying to network professionally outside of being an attorney, I go to private events. In college, I went to private events. I did not go to the school business school events, mainly because, again, they know that you're a student. They won't care about what you've done. They will underestimate what your skills are. So always make sure that wherever you're networking on, you have an equal playing field. And then the last thing I want to talk about as someone approaching someone else is understand that you're disrupting them. You are a disruptor, and make sure that whatever you're saying, your elevator pitch, things like that, it's worth it. It's eye-catching. It will get their attention. So that's my main networking tips. And again, to reiterate my presentation, it's not just about meeting people. The more important thing is about maintaining those connections, following up with them, meeting them outside of those events, and getting to know them more personally.
Yes, really awesome tips. And we start from Emily, and now we would like you to conclude.
Sure, yeah, I would like to say that I agree with everything the two people, the two speakers said, before me. I think, being simple and straight to the point is the easiest way for me to actually respond. I get connection requests that have no message, and I don't know if you're in my research area. I don't know what, you're asking of me. So if you could include a message like, hey, I'm X and X, I'm looking for tips on X and Y, XYZ, then it allows me to calibrate, how much effort it's going to take on my part to be able to, respond to the message or agree to a coffee chat or things like that. So I definitely think that, being straight up front is really important.
Thank you, Emily. And as we draw the incredible the fourth forum to a close, I really would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to each of you and everyone here in the audience for being a part of this inspiring and enriching night. And so next, I would like to invite the executive president from the CCEA, one of our organizations. Representative, Mr. Zhong Chen. Just is that possible that you could make a brief summary of this event and also acknowledge part?
Thank you for Hanxiao's excellent moderator tonight. And I would say tonight our speaker's speech is very inspiring and very to the point. I would say that I listened to most of them. I just only stepped out the couple minutes for the meeting, but I heard your speech is very amazing, to the point, and very inspiring, and great speech, great story sharing, especially a few of you, I think, touching some points I fully agree. The reason one, we just hold a call, My Youth, My Dreams. One book just published. That's over 80 authors published their dreams, their careers, and their storytelling in the book. And that's a lot of amazing story I read through and very touched. Tonight, your summary really, I heard a lot of them, very practical. Very, I would say that they not only help you succeed in your academic or in your entrepreneur journey, but also help on your life. And I already can predict your life will be very successful in future in your next phase of a journey, because you have you already mastered all the fundamentals of the technique you need, the good methodologies, and you are in a good areas of your expertise. Well, I would say that tonight's summary, I like a lot of them. Very nice for the summary, especially on the last few pages. Summary very profound, will be very profound impact for our future young generation, the youth, especially the second generation. Very, and I would say that enriched with the visionary insight, as well as the lots of lesson learned experience. And I fully agreed with Edu on the you need to adapt to the world, right? And not adapt, let the world adapt to you. I would say that very echoes my philosophy. I would say that all of you did a fantastic job, and really it's a role model for our future generation. And your summary will be helping them in the long-term career goals setting, as well as the dreams realizations. So this seminar, I would say that the following will conclude our this year's event. We hold 4 consecutive monthly seminar, and so far, each time we invited 5 guest speakers. So far we have 20. The next month we will take a break, but I will invite you coming back, some of you coming back to attend our CCEA's year-end forum. This term will be our number 4 times of year-end forum. The first 2 times we hold virtually online. Last year we held in Toronto. There's over 350, near 360 guests attend the event. Very amazing event. It basically is the top of the notch of the Toronto Chinese community. It's a professional event and charity event. We invited a very high profile expert coming to make the prediction for futures on economy, as well as on other business side. So one of the session I already set up is for our youth professional career development, as well as entrepreneurship. So this year we're adding one more session for our youth. I would like to invite some of you coming to our forum this year and to present your findings, and I wish you can support. There will be on-site. Currently we will be in the Sinflint media. I think the seats is limited, but we will try to accommodate. Hope you can to make the time. The date will be on January 21st, from 3 o'clock to afternoon to 9:30 in the evening. So we all have a business forum 3 to 6, and then have a dinner. Then we have the galas after. Let's follow similar path we have held last year. So I would say that all of you, it's amazing. It's inspiring a lot, not just the young kids, but also myself. And I have a very good, I think, impression from what you speak. And we all published your lots of good summary to our YouTube link, and then share to the other team members. Tonight we have a little bit less people, but fewer people. But overall, last few we have always around 70. I think tonight a lot of team went out. So in next one, I would like to invite one of our guest speakers coming out, which is Emily's mommy, Lan Li. You can invite it for a couple of minutes speech. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome, Lan.
Hi, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Nice meeting.
I'm just so honored to join tonight's forum, and I'm the proud mom of Emily Kwong. First, I want to thank you so much, everyone, for the hard work to put this forum together. You know, everyone, I know how much the work and the wide range of the career paths, and it benefits not only the students, the speakers, but also parents and job seekers. So together we are here to build a community to help each other, to be inspiration for each other. And I just wanna, like, as a parent, I wanna just say something about how to support our children. As parents, we all want the best for our kids, but I think we are in Canada, so we need to give them freedom to explore their interest, and then don't do the stereotype like a speaker said. Oh, either doctor or lawyer, and even my younger daughter said, "Mommy, don't tell me about it." I said, I didn't even say it. Anyway, but I think just give them all opportunities to explore. Even Emily, she starts very young and small, like community newspaper deliver, and then high school summer camp counselor. Those little jobs, they build the soft skills, like how to communicate, how to work with other people, what's the workplace those rules. So and then when she do the interns, she mentioned she did 8 interns. So she explored different companies. Even the same company gave her return offer, said, oh, I want to explore a new one. So being young, it being like you have time to explore and to make mistakes and then to learn. There's no failure. You always learn from it. But as a responsible parent, we need to give them advice. I told them, I said, I respect each job you will choose, but I will give you guidance to the promising career. So like both of my 2 girls, they accept in TOPS program. So this program, each year they accept 60 students, 30 girls and 30 boys. So I encourage my 2 girls to in the STEM program, because now in modern society, girls, your brain is as smart as boys. So never underestimate. And even though it's not easy, but it's a promising career. That's why I really encourage them to be in the field of STEM. So that's my my encourage. Let's guide them. And the last one I want to advise to the parents is just don't pressure your children. Like don't say how much I sacrifice for you to come to Canada. Because we need to try to be in their shoes. They have struggles as well. They have to fit in their class. They have peer pressure, and they still have accommodate the family, the Chinese culture. They have a lot of struggles, and they have eyes to see. You don't need to say how much the sacrifice, but they will see. Just be a good example to your child. I remember once Emily asked me, "Mommy, do you regret to come to Canada, give up your career? I said, no, because I come here not only for your education, but also I want to explore the world. I was so blessed in Shenzhen. I can enjoy the food from all over the places in China. But in Toronto, we can enjoy the food from all over the world, right? From different countries. So be open, be flexible, and be positive. So be a good example to your kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lan, for your sharing. And I think you have made a wonderful example about to explain what is successful parenting. It is not about the perfection. I think it is more important. It's about to creating, nurturing a supportive, loving environment in each that for our kids can survive and thrive. And it is more important to adapt and grow as a parent like us that we, as our children, we need to growing and developing too, right? So ultimately, successful parenting, I think it is more about raising a confident, responsible, and compassionate individuals that who are equipped to face the challenges of their own life. And we are always here to support them. So thank you so much for your sharing, and congratulations that you have Emily. Makes us so proud of that. And at this moment, I would like to extend again my sincere thanks to all our speakers and our partners, and especially for our volunteers who have made this event possible. Your support and commitment to nurture the next generation of our great professionals and entrepreneurs are truly commendable. So thank you so much. And I hope everyone here, when we left or closing, turn off this camera, we could still have reflect on all the insight have we gained tonight, the ideas has been ignited, the lessons maybe that we can take away with us to pursue our own professional careers and not projectors and entrepreneur ventures. So do embrace, so do dream boldly and do action boldly. That is what we would like to encourage everyone to do. So thank you again for everyone still being here for this remarkable night. And I hope that I could wish each and every one of you a future filled with the boundless success, creativity, and fulfillment in your professional careers and entrepreneur endeavors. So that is, I think we can call it a day. And thank you, everyone. And our last acknowledge should give our organizing committees. And we do have our WeChat group. So if you want to know our the latest updates or what's the incoming events, please feel free to scan the QR code and join our WeChat group. So we're going to share the most updated informations, or even sometimes we do have job posting opportunities that we will share in our WeChat group. So if you are not in our group, feel free to join us. Okay, so is there anything else that you would like to add on? So again, in person, please stay inspired, stay innovative, stay determined. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.